I mean, think about it. So Paul here, I think, is saying, because of all the visions and the revelations and all the things I've got to share, think about what Paul could share about the way things work. Think of the insight Paul had into the workings of heaven, into the workings of the gospel. If he was caught up into heaven and heard things and the gospel shared to him, he would be a powerful minister for Christ, wouldn't you say? And so put yourself in the devil's position for a minute and think, wow, look at him. We got to put a stop to this guy. I'll tell you what, why don't you go buffet him a little bit? See, that's what he's saying. And Paul, with his insight, recognized that. So he says, recognizing this, because of these revelations and visions, a messenger of Satan came to me and buffeted me in the flesh, a thorn in my flesh. For this thing, he said, I besought the Lord thrice that it might depart from me. I went to the Lord and said, Lord, make him quit. That's what he's kind of basically saying. But here's all that. I read all of that long introduction to give you this thought in verse 9. He said to me, this is the Lord's answer to Paul, my grace is sufficient for you. My grace is enough, in other words. My grace is adequate for you. My grace is sufficient for you. For my strength is made perfect in weakness. Now, if I might add a word to it to clarify it, Jesus speaking here, my strength is made perfect in your weakness. Now think about it. When you feel like you're strong and you've got it under control, you don't feel like you really need God. See, things that I can handle on my own, that I feel confident about, like I get up in the morning and tie my shoes, I never do pray before I do that. I say, oh Lord, please help me that I get these shoes tied. Well, it never occurs to me because I feel like I got that under control. But things that are beyond my capacity to deal with, see, things that were beyond Paul's capacity to deal with here. He went to the Lord about it, and Jesus said, my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength. Now, what did we read a while ago when Paul said, I know how to do all things through Christ who strengthens me? Jesus is here saying, my strength is made perfect specifically in those areas where you understand that you're incapable, where you're weak. My strength is made perfect. Can I paraphrase it another way? My strength, Jesus is saying, is made perfect or revealed right in the midst of your weakness. Right in the midst of where you feel like you're weak. That's the place where He wants to show Himself strong, where you feel like this is too big for me. This is beyond my capacity. This, I can't handle it. Jesus says, that's where I can handle it. See, that's what the message is here. Most gladly, therefore, will I glory or boast about my infirmities. Notice he keeps talking about the things that reveal to me that I'm weak. That the power of Christ may rest upon me. He says, I don't mind talking about how weak, the things that humiliate me and make me feel weak, like he just got through saying, because I understand now that if I'm weak, the places where I'm weak, then the power of Christ rests upon me when I know I can't do it. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities and reproaches and necessities and persecutions and distresses for Christ's sake. For when I'm weak, then I'm strong. Well, how is that? Well, when I realize that I haven't got what it takes, then I can realize Jesus does have what it takes. When I know I'm too weak for the job, then I can say, Jesus, you've got enough to get it done. And see, he's not telling this just so we say, wow, that Paul, he was really something. He's telling us this so we can say the same thing in our lives and apply this to our lives. Where we feel like I don't know what to do about it. It's too big for me. It's too hard for me. And that's different with every one of us. Every one of us as individuals have different things we face. For my income, I farm. I do farm. And this is so unlikely because, when my father was alive, I didn't really pay any attention to how he did things because I didn't like it. I thought, well, I'm going to go and study music and be a musician. I don't care about all this farming. Well, now that he's gone and I have to do it, I look back and I wish I paid a little more attention to things because I am the dumbest farmer you ever saw. I don't know. I am unmechanical. I don't like to get my hands dirty. I don't know one thing from another. But I have to deal with it. And when I have to deal with it, it makes me feel just like Paul says here. But see, what it makes me do is say, oh, God, you got to help me. You see? Whereas if I thought I could do it, I wouldn't be calling him. But I believe you want to see somebody at prayer, you should follow me around it. Anyway, that's what Paul is saying. The things that reveal to us, and when we understand that we're weak and incapable, any area of life, anything that is an area where you feel like you're weak and incapable, that's where it says the power of Christ can rest upon you if you'll allow Him to do it. Now, I'd like to conclude with one more little passage here as an encouragement to you in the face of everything we've said, and it goes right along with it. And before I read it, what are we talking about today? The Christ-centered life. We live our lives as Christians by focusing not on ourselves but on Jesus. And today we're talking about not on the trouble but on Jesus. Jesus is big enough to handle everything that confronts us. We read it a while ago. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers them out of them all. So the question is, which side of that do you want to live on? Which side of that do you want to focus your attention on? You can look at the trouble, but I recommend you look at the Lord delivers them out of them all. He's big enough to handle what I face.